What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Couch Talk. So, yesterday I did kind of this chat about success, what it means to me, tips and tricks of being successful, things I've found that have helped me be successful, and a couple of hindrances of success as well. Uh, and I had a bunch of other notes written down that I didn't really put in that video, so I'm going to make kind of a part two today. And this one's solely going to be kind of the tips and tricks of success, a couple more hindrances of success. Again, if I'm looking down, it's just looking at the notes I'd written down. So I'm going to get right into it. So kind of another 5 tips I had written down. The first one is willingness to learn. I am a firm believer that you have to be kind of this lifelong learner to grow and be successful, specifically in a certain role, whatever that may be. I do think the more you learn, the more you can essentially climb the ladder and get into that intermediate, senior type of level role. And if we're not even talking like a corporate world, like if you're someone that's entertaining social media full time, really learn the ins and outs of how you catch the algorithm, how you capitalize on using other applications to help funnel into your social media, and learning how to use those other applications. Because yes, it might not give you that instant gratification, but you got to think in the long run, the more and more you get better at those skills and kind of capitalize and hone in on those skills, the more you are going to funnel into your social media. I've just from personal research, I've heard that is a huge thing that people lack. Is just they want to hop on social media or hop into a job and just essentially have it handed to them in a sense, where we obviously all know nothing in life is handed to us. You gotta work your butt off to get it. So always be a lifelong learner. This second one I actually made a whole video on, and I'll link it down in the description if you guys wanted to watch it. But it's the learn from mistakes and failures. I am a firm believer that in order to be successful, you have to make mistakes and you have to fail. And when I say fail, I don't mean fail as in your life's over. No, it's inevitable. As if I'll use the example of if you're growing a business, right? Or if you're making a startup. If you've never done something before, and if it's your first stab at something, it's inevitable you're going to make mistakes in a step. You're going to fail at a step. But the good thing about that is you learn from those mistakes, and that only helps you to be more successful in the long run. And it makes you a more well-rounded, either if you're in social media, content creator, if you're in the corporate world, a more well-rounded employee, if you're in school, a more well-rounded student, you name it. So mistakes and failure is super important for success. A third one is going to be being open to new ideas. I think it's really easy for us as humans to rely on our own natural thought process, and when we think we've got something down, we kind of close our mind and not really let in new ideas because we think we've got it figured out. I can tell you, nothing is ever 100% figured out. There's always gonna be a new concept, a new idea that will overtake what you thought was already figured out. So being open to new ideas is crucial, because as soon as you think you've got it figured out and you have this new idea come in that helps scale whatever you're doing, you are now one step ahead and are on that. I think that's success right there, because also being a step ahead is very important. Um, Fourth is taking risks. I think taking risks is a double-edged sword, because I think taking risks can be the hardest part of success, because risks always has a negative connotation attached to it. And when I say risks, I mean calculated risks. Like, this is just an example here, like, don't just up and move to California with no plan. That, in my eyes, is that's a stupid risk. Because you have no goal, you have no plan in place, you're just going on the whim. Now, on the flip side of that, I know people personally that have taken those kind of risks and then figured it out once they got there. That's cool. But you got to take the calculated risks. And that could be the kind of risk of, like, say you wanted to move somewhere. Say you wanted to go, I don't know, say you wanted to move to Canada. So to make that a good risk in my eyes is, okay, so you've decided you want to take that risk, you want to move to Canada. So now it's time to do the prep work before actually jumping. So, like, get a job out there. Go out there, find a place to live. So basically, like, things are lined up once you get there. And then the risk of it's just kind of like betting on yourself, hoping that you enjoy that place. You end up landing in that right job. It's all about being calculated with those risks, I think. Specifically in business, it's really easy to take kind of dumb risks that could really turn it into a sink or swim situation. So yeah, that's 4. And 5, for success, I can't harp on the fact of always being prepared. I will use job interviews as an example for this. My mentor told me always be prepared for interviews. So what that means is, like, do research on the company. Like, do extensive research on the company. Know when the company started. Know where their headquarters are. Know the details of, like, essentially know their page, like the back, like their website, and a lot of their information like the back of your hand. Because you really don't know what a company's going to ask in an interview. Now, yes, obviously interviews, there are basic questions that every company asks. But when you get to that second and third round, it could get a lot more detailed. So you got to really know who you're interviewing with. So that's my example for just always being prepared. I do think being prepared in just any aspect of life, you will flourish. So those are my other 5 tips that I kind of had written down for success. I had 3 other hindrances of success. The first one being lack of consistency. I think it's really easy to set this goal. I'll use, like, New Year's resolutions again as an example of, like, it's really easy. January 1st hits, you hit the ground running on this goal, and then all of a sudden you become busy and you, like, fall off of this goal. That's the definition of lack of consistency, because you have now just dropped off all that momentum that you had built up. So, like, stick with it. Yes, again, I mentioned this in the last video yesterday. A lot of good things in life, like, you're not going to see that instant gratification. You're not going to see that instant success. You got to put the time, you got to go through the peaks and valleys to really, like, reap the benefits of what you're trying to do. Another thing is lack of focus. I think I'll use college for an example. In school, in undergrad, like, I'm a super extroverted individual, so I wanted to go out and meet everybody I can meet. And that definitely was something that, like, as soon as once I got into grad school and went through grad school, like, I tightened my circle tremendously, which in turn helped me focus a lot more. Because I didn't have people texting me 24/7. I had a lot more time to really put that focus into what I was doing. So lack of focus is another one that can really hinder success. And this last bullet is something I really want to harp on. And it pertains to success, but it can just kind of pertain to everything in life, of just trying to be too perfect. That seems rather broad, I know. But I think when it comes to, if you're trying to build a brand, whether it be on social media, in person, just trying to make friends in college or high school, whatever, be yourself. You will draw people in just by being yourself. That, like, the law of attraction is a real thing. And here's the other thing of, if you put on this, like, facade in starting a business, you're going to start drawing in people that are attracted to that facade versus pulling in people that support your authentic self. And down the line, that could come and bite you in the ass, because as soon as you start switching up into your authentic self, your following is going to be like, who is this guy? What is this? So be yourself, be smart, know the business game, but be yourself, be your raw, authentic self, especially on social media too. We all know, like, it's so easy to sniff out when someone has this, like, fake personality going on. Because I know, speaking for me, I'm a big YouTube consumer, and I'm very much attracted to these like-minded, raw, authentic people. So that idea of just being too perfect, get that out of your mind. That will hinder you in so many different ways. I'm confident that will. Be yourself. Make mistakes. And in the long run, that will 100% pay off. So these were my kind of final thoughts, other notes I had taken on this thought on success. So yeah, guys, this is going to be kind of part 2 to yesterday's video. And like I said, I'll link down into the description my other video that I had mentioned a few minutes ago. But yeah, guys, so that's going to wrap up today's video, and I will see you guys on Monday, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Peace.